Friday night, it's 6 p.m, this is the warm-up, and this is what's coming up. Karleigh talks centre-back to centre-back with our new signing Zanka and gets the lowdown on where that nickname started.
And for some odd reason I felt like it was like a bobsleigh. And he said, oh yeah, we'll call you Zanka.
Brighton was Thomas Frank's 150th appearance as Gaffer, so we went down memory lane with an honest look back on the roller coaster so far.
The honest answer, of course, and I try to be honest every single time, is it was tough. Of course, I hope for more.
And in the game that absolutely no one is calling Denmark versus Portugal, we'll have all the build-up to Saturday's game against Wolves. Go on, Karleigh, you Zanka. Love that, mate. Ambassador, you were busy this week as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I was a little bit busy.
With England International, we'll get onto that a bit later. Karleigh, before we do get into it, how did the women's team get on last week?
Yeah, good result in the end. We drew, but we was 2-0 down, come back and drew 2-2, so I was proud of the character shown. So yeah, good result in the end.
Go without incident?
Well, there was no incidents with the ladies, yeah.
Nothing happened?
What's up? What have I missed? What happened?
Well, I was sent off.
Oh, you kept that quiet.
I know, I didn't think it was fair, to be honest.
Talk to me about the team's performance and all that. But
look, we ain't going into this now. We ain't going into this.
We need
set
to
a better example.
Yeah, you're right.
All can be forgiven though. 24 hours previous, our unbeaten run comes to an end. Ambassador, hard one to take.
Yeah.
Probably the worst way to lose a football match. Last minute goal. You had a lot to say about it after.
Did I?
You did. You did. Now the dust has settled. What are your thoughts now?
Yeah, looking back, look, we've played well enough. Just a tough goal to concede at the 90th minute. Really no time to come back and get back into the game. But the game's about chances. You know, we had 3 or 4. Particularly in that first half period where, you know, if you take one of them, the picture of it changes. But that's the harshness of this Premier League. It's a brutal league. It's fine margins. Thomas Franks probably said the same thing as well. It's about fine margins, but overall we can still be proud of what we've done. And we've got a good indication where we are in this league with playing the likes of Brighton.
Is there any solace, Karleigh, in the fact that the goals we've conceded so far have been pretty special?
Yeah, definitely. It means the team's in a good place where, you know, opposition teams have to work hard to get those goals and get those opportunities. So that's a real positive to take moving forward. You know, like Marcus said there, we had some good chances. We need to be a little bit more clinical, and I think that's a good lesson, that game, for us, in terms of, you know, you do have to be clinical, because likewise other teams, when they do get the opportunity, they will take it.
And it's interesting you say that, because last week we talked about how defensively we were so solid, and we showed that again. And we were worried that we weren't creating chances. Well, you said maybe that was your only slight worry. The chances, though, are coming from slightly different sources, aren't they, Karleigh? Rather than last year when we were maybe cutting teams open, slicing them open with quick football. It's a slightly different method this year, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think, you know, we're winning the ball a lot higher up the pitch and almost catching teams on the back foot in that sense. There's not so much chances created from the build-up that we're doing necessarily, but we are having opportunities. I think we probably created the most chances against Brighton, in fairness, but the result obviously tells you a different story. But when watching the game, we created the better chances throughout the game, I felt, especially in the first half. But the difference on the day, unfortunately, was Brighton were just more clinical than us.
We're good at setting the traps and winning that ball back. Now it's a case of, once we've done that, let's do the hardest bit, which is put the ball in the back of the net. But that will definitely come.
And with that, obviously Brighton will be devastated and he'll be gutted, and we can't dwell on that, like everyone has those games. Will he be, as a striker yourself, right, would you be more worried that you weren't getting chances, or that you weren't putting them away if you were getting them?
I'd be more worried if I weren't getting the chances. That would frustrate me. I would probably go wandering around the pitch. But at the same time, if you are getting chances and you're maybe snatching at them, that will start playing on you as well. But
is that what you think maybe happened there? He could have maybe taken a touch?
Yeah, I think he could have taken a touch. I'm sure he knows
easy
this anyway.
for us to say this.
Yeah, but I just think the difference between obviously the Championship and the Premier League is it's the finishing. You know, you're snatching at a few of the chances compared to what this level requires now. It's clinical finishing now.
One massive positive. I was so happy to see this. Shandon Baptiste, first start. He has worked so hard. Such an amazing guy as well. Proper welcome sight, wasn't it, Marcus?
Yeah. To be fair, I was a little bit surprised he started, but overjoyed that he started, because he's a very good player. Gone for a lot of injuries. He's probably had a few doubts about himself as well, to be honest, but to be given a start against Brighton at home was great. Thought he moved the ball, he looked very comfortable on the ball, didn't look out of place at all in the Premier League. And obviously you're gonna fatigue in the match. He's been out for so long, and it's just managing those minutes with him now to get him through this season.
Feels like a new signing, doesn't it, Karleigh, with Shandon?
Yeah, it does. Obviously, he had come with really high expectations. He's had a really bad time of injury. We've not seen what we would like to see of him, but it was fantastic to see him back on the pitch. And I thought he did well. I'm sure he'd have liked to get on the ball a bit more, but I thought at the moments he had the ball, he looked like he wanted to create something. He wanted to drive forward. He tried to carry the team forward. So it was great to see him in the team.
Exciting times. One man who is a new signing is Zanka, and Karleigh caught up with him this week. Should we have a little watch back, mate?
Yeah, let's have a watch. Well, welcome, Mathias.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you here. You have a nickname, Zanka.
Yep.
How did that come about?
So my youth team coach when I was like 10 years old, he's actually the sports director of Aston Villa now. So little fact. Yeah, I guess he saw the movie Cool Runnings. I saw the movie Cool Runnings, and
one of your favourite films?
Yeah, at that point it was at least. Yeah, we were going back from a training and we had to cram a lot of people in the car. I was sitting in front of the passenger seat, and for some odd reason I felt like it was like a bobsleigh. And he said, "Oh yeah, we'll call you Zanka," and it just stuck. Just my mom, my sister, and my fiance that says Mathias, more or less.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So only the three people. That's brilliant.
More or less, something like that. Yeah.
It's hard to get rid of a nickname sometimes. I had a nickname when I was younger called Chewbacca, because every time I gave the ball away, I would make the sound that Chewbacca made. I managed to shift it just about, but I know what you mean.
Luckily, you got rid of that.
Luckily, yeah. So how did the move come about?
Yeah, so it's obviously something that has been kind of talked about with agents and with the club. There's a Danish connection as well. I played under Brian when he was the assistant manager in Copenhagen, Brian Riemer. So there's been talks also other years about maybe joining, and this year we could actually make everything come together, and I'm really pleased about that, and I'm just trying to get settled and get up to speed, and get to learn everything that is to learn about the team, the club, so that I can be ready when my name's called upon.
Nice. You mentioned there about settling in. How have you settled in so far?
Pretty good. I'm in a hotel in Chiswick. Went down the high street a few times, trying to just get acquainted in that area. Obviously, me and my fiance trying to find a place to really settle down. It's a good group of players and a good group of people.
You know, you mentioned that you knew a few people before coming, and obviously with the Danish connection. Did you know a lot about Brentford before coming here?
Obviously, it's a big thing. Every Danish people, any Danish person knows Brentford because of that. There's been a lot of Danish players, and obviously throughout the years, they've all told their story about what happens here and the thing that they're trying to do.
So you're back in the Premier League, obviously after your first spell at Huddersfield. How did you find the Premier League first time round?
Well, it's challenging, no doubt, definitely, and you really have to keep your head just straight and just keep going forward, because there will be ups and downs. Luckily, there's been ups, mostly ups until now. Obviously, this Saturday was a bit of a down, but this will happen throughout the season when you play against opposition that are so talented as well. We just have to stick together, stay calm, and I think with the squad that we have and the tactics and the playing style that this team has, we'll definitely be able to do something in this league.
How do you think that experience will help you with here at Brentford, and how do you think you'll be able to pass that experience on in the Premier League before to some of the younger lads who may need it?
Yeah, hopefully it means that when the going gets tough, I'll be able to bring down some of the, I wouldn't say wisdom, but at least some pointers as to how it felt last time.
In terms of style of play, what do you make of Brentford's style of play, and how do you feel that you'll kind of fit into that style of play?
Well, I think it's more European. It's quite a modern style of playing, especially now when they've gone to a three at the back and wing backs to try to kind of be a little bit more, surprising, bit more aggressive and forward thinking. I know a few years back, Brentford was always the team that scored the most goals, but also conceded a lot of goals. And I think the recent years with Thomas and Brian Riemer at the helm, that's kind of been a focus on the defensive side as well. I know some of the tactical defensive side. I know some of the ideas there very well. It's something that I've been schooled in, so at that point I won't be having to learn everything from scratch. So that, I think that's a plus.
Well, we spoke about your wealth of experience that you have, and you played obviously at the highest level, played at international level. How was it playing in the World Cup? That must have been amazing.
Yeah, for sure. I think playing in the World Cup is something that every young kid and young footballer dreams of. So actually to be able to be at that stage in Russia with basically the whole world watching, that was sick. That's probably the highlight of my career. Obviously scoring in the round of 16 as well was really, or round of 30, I can't remember what game it was, but anyway, against Croatia.
Lost in the emotions at the time.
Exactly, yeah. It's one of the biggest experiences of my life, but actually also one of the most heartbreaking ones because we ended up losing that game. So I try to forget when it was what it actually was, but still one of the biggest moments of my career just to be a part of that.
I love that. Well, look, I've had a little stalk of your Insta, and I see that you're into your fashion, as we can tell today. A bit like myself, I would say I dress okay. Not as good as you, but I would say I dress okay. What kind of hobbies do you have, and is fashion one of your hobbies? Is that something you kind of take pride in?
Yeah, I guess I like to dress nicely. For sure, there's a lot of as a football player, we do have a lot of spare time on our hands, and sometimes that is shopping online or whatever. But I like reading. I have a dog. I like taking walks with my dog and my fiance. We have a little kid coming in 2 months.
Oh,
so that's a big.
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. That's a big thing for me. So probably there won't be as much time going about the look and everything. So yeah, that's it.
Good stuff. Well, listen, I really appreciate your time. Welcome to the club, and look forward to seeing you out on that pitch.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
No problem.
What a top guy he seems, Karleigh.
Yeah, he is a real good guy. It was great to catch up with him. Good dresser, similar to myself.
Me? Oh.
But no, he was a good guy.
Well, look, he had some experience to Thomas's side, and on Saturday it was Thomas's 150th game in charge against Brighton. 1,067 days in charge. That's 71 wins, 37 draws, 42 defeats. He's got the third highest amount of wins for that total as a manager in 150 games. Mm-hmm. We touched on this last year, but I think it's a good question to revisit. Where does he rank in all-time Brentford managers for you guys?
He's got to be number one for me. No Brentford manager has achieved what he's done, which is to get this club into the Premier League or top flight football. So he's got to be number one.
Karleigh?
Yeah, I'd agree with Gabe. I think he's got to be number one, and I think just the way he carries himself as a manager, he is a person that you want to represent your club.
Yeah.
You know, he has a great connection with the fans. He's a fantastic guy and has a great connection with his players. He's taken Brentford from a mid-table club to the Premier League. I think he deserves all the accolades he gets.
Now we've had popular managers down at this club here, but when you think of Martin Allen, very passionate with the fans, they love him. But you look at Thomas and you just think the fans love him, they adore him, and he's got their club, our club, into the Premier League. So I don't think anyone can really top that.
Yeah. I mean, as a manager yourself, Karleigh, you kind of said a few bits there. I'm sure you look at other managers and kind of get bits from them. What do you get from Thomas?
I think the main thing is how he seems to keep emotional control all the time when we're out on this pitch. You know, I watch him and I study what he does, and even when the team are facing adversity, I never feel he shows that to the players or brings that across to the players. He never puts that kind of energy out there to the players. He might have a moment to himself on the side or something like that, but whenever he's kind of conducting his orchestra, so to speak, it always seems very in control. And I think you can see that from the players, because the way they react to him, the way they want to play for him.
The players definitely reflect Thomas.
Yeah.
They keep that composure. They understand the script that they need to perform on, out on the pitch, and it all stems from the manager.
Yeah.
We've seen managers in the past in the Premier League jumping up and down on the sidelines, and the team's erratic. And you think, why are they erratic? But when you see Thomas, you know he's calm, he's cool, he's collected.
But that stuff off the pitch that you're saying, I agree. I think for me, he's my favourite ever Brentford manager. I think what he's done to turn us, like you say, we were a mid-table side. Great football under Dean Smith, superb manager, but we were, let's get it right, we were finishing mid-table, and he's turned us into a Premier League side. I know he's had some great players, but he's also developed a lot of those great players to the players that they are now. But for me as well, off the pitch, I've only been exposed to being around Thomas in the last year or so. Honestly, I know people say this stuff, like he is
Yeah, he is.
the nicest man in the world. We were saying it before we filmed this, like when you go into the training ground, how he always makes a beeline for you, and it's little things like that. Like, little disclaimer, we filmed something this week with him, which we're about to see, and afterwards he just drops me a little message after, like, I hope he doesn't mind me mentioning that, but it's just little things like that. He doesn't have to do that. Like, he's so personable with every member of staff at this football club, from the top to the bottom. And I think that is so massive, and he cares about your lives, and he asks you questions, and I don't know, I think for me that goes a long way.
Yeah, it shows a lot about his sort of humanity as well. He values people, and he makes sure those people see that from him, which is important, because it gives everybody that lift. You know, I was in there on Monday, and he's as bubbly as anything. We just lost the Premier League match, but he's in bubbly, and you just think the players are going to come in and see that. So they're not going to have their tail between their legs. They're going to come in and think the manager's bubbly. I'm going to reflect what he's like and perform in training and get us out of that sort of that losing sort of mentality of the day. But that's what you need at the football club. You need someone that is positive and will lead from the front like he does.
Well, like I say, I was lucky enough to spend some time with him on Monday, and we took a look back at 150 games in charge with Thomas Frank. Thomas, first of all, congratulations, 150 games as Brentford manager. So I figured it might be nice to us to take a little trip down memory lane, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, it's cool with me. Thank you very much.
I guess there's one which we're going to start on first. Do you remember this day?
Yeah, my first game. Clearly remember it. It was a big day, sunny day in October. I can't remember the exact date actually. Playing against Bristol City, we are playing fine-ish, and I think we were a bit on top of the game. Then Chris Meckham got his second yellow, so we got a red card. So we played 10 against 11, but we still went quite offensive, so in a 4-3-2, I already knew that. Yeah. So Ollie hit inside of the post, actually, because we're a little bit brave there, but they score in the 90th minute. So that was a tough one to take. So
that's your first game as Brentford manager, and we can sit here now and look back at this, but first 10 games, only one win. I mean, was there any time in those 10 games where you were going, wow, this is tough? Because normally when you start a new job, you have a honeymoon period and you go on a nice run. How did you find that period when you weren't getting the results that maybe performances were meriting?
The honest answer, of course, and I try to be honest every single time, is it was tough. Of course, I hope for more. I think we, of the 8 losses, 7 of them we lost by 1 goal. And for example, we are losing 1-0 to Bristol, then we are going away to Preston, and we are down 3-0 after 20 minutes. And one of them, I think, Ben's make a mistake to pick up the ball or something like that, and I'm thinking, okay, dear football god, come on, give us a little bit. We are down 3-0. So, but the boys were amazing. They finally came back in the game, and we still lose 4-3. Lose 1-0 to Norwich, and then we win 2-0 home to Millwall. And I just know, okay, now we're on track. Then we go away to QPR, Mopé get injured, other injuries, Said get injured, and we're losing 3-2, I think. And it was just, but we stayed consistent. We continued to do the things we believed in. Big focus on the defensive side of the game. And to be fair, we had a few injuries plus all the sad things that happened with Rob Rowan.
Of course,
It was a tough time. But when we won, I think the 22nd of December against Bolton, that was a big relief. That was a big relief, I must say that. And from there on, we actually more or less never looked back.
Yeah, and this is a game, I've got a confession. I don't know if you realise which game this one is.
Millwall 3-2.
I left early.
You left early? What? Why?
I had somewhere right to be and we were 2-0 down.
You're a supporter, right?
I know, but I never leave
Brentford's
early.
through and through.
Yeah, but I never leave early, Thomas. But that day I had somewhere to be and I was like...
Somewhere to be?
Somewhere to be. I had to be in Essex. And then I was like, I know I should stay, You always back the team to the end, but I did leave. And as I got down New Road, I heard the cheer. And I got to the station, I heard another cheer. And it was one of those ones that I just didn't know what to do. I almost ran back. So I've got a confession. So that's my apology to you. And this game was...
That was insane.
Yeah.
Insane. I clearly remember it.
Yeah.
We started unbelievable well. We battered Millwall. We should have been up 2 or 3-0. We missed a penalty. We get inside of the post. We had another massive chance. And then I think in the end of the game, in the first half, they scored to 1-0.
Yep.
Then, okay, come on boys, we need to continue. We stayed positive. And then second half, I think we got a goal cancelled. And then Ollie make a penalty, so we're down 2-0. That was tough, but it's about, I never forget this game. Never stop believing. Justice Silva passed it into the back of the net, 2-1. Brighton Puemo, a little deflection, but still top corner. Yeah. And then Ollie, of course.
And then there's that image, David's running out like that, and then all the guys going over to Braemar Road.
And that is a fantastic picture, huh? Christian is subbed off and hanging on the back up.
It's amazing. And we can see here Pontus, and see yourself with Pontus again in this game. How big was Pontus's arrival, do you think, for the squad?
Massive. No doubt about that. I think we needed a leader. We need another experienced player that could help bring not that it was not together, but just push it in the direction we wanted. Yeah. And he's been a very important and big player for us.
And obviously, then that season comes to a halt because of COVID and stuff. And then we've got here. This is the first game back, obviously against Fulham. But I want to talk about that break because. How did you guys approach that? Was it now a new mini season when you came back?
Definitely when we came back. First, it was tricky because none of us knew what will happen. Yeah. First, you're thinking, we're back in a couple of weeks, but no, we wasn't. It took actually 10 weeks, something like that. I can't remember, a long time. And then you actually take some time off because you can't do too much. You knew that the players had a program they had to follow. And then when we're starting to get closer, we start to prepare. And it's the first mini season where we started in small groups training, and then a little bit more players in the groups, and then we added. But the players were fantastic when they came back, and we just started flying. That game against Fulham, top game, and there's a fantastic picture where I see it coming out to me. Scoring the 1-0 goal,
and then obviously, then Emiliano.
Scored the second goal,
And on Saeed, obviously, someone that you had such a special bond with on a lot of layers, because obviously Saeed went through a tough time during the club, and he spoke about how you were there for him when he lost his father and stuff. So it was a real bond between the two of you, wasn't it?
Yes, it's in a way it's tricky with a squad of 25 players because you care about all of them and you want all of them to play and you want the best life for all of them, and you need to take some decision where it's only 11 that starts and only 3 players most likely is going to be soft off. But some players, for various reasons, you just get to be closer with. And Saeed was one of them. One of these person where he makes you smile and bring you a lot of happiness and also some pain once in a while. But that's normally the best players.
And then so we went on this amazing run, and look, on this board there's a lot of happy moments, but we're going to have to talk about some of the tougher moments here as well. This is of course the Barnsley game on the last day of the season. I mean, at this point you can see the board goes up, and I think it's 1-1 at this point. So we've got at this point 6 minutes to get a goal that gets us into the Premier League. Yeah. Can you remember much about that day, and what was the communication you were getting from elsewhere? And I think West Brom were involved, weren't they, with their results going our way at one point?
Yeah, they were. I remember clearly the day. Crazy game where we are going down 1-0, and second half we are pushing. Barnsley are playing a fantastic game, must say, to give them some praise. But we in the end showed more quality, equalised by a fantastic goal by Josh Da Silva. Then they score a goal, and then it's game over. There was a lot of frustration after that game for all of us. Very difficult to take. A lot of emotions running high, and I think we need to play 3 days later or 4 days later. It's crazy.
How do you pick yourself up then?
That's crazy. So I'm pretty sure we had a day off, no matter what, the day after. And of course I consider, should we, get people in just to talk, or should we just and say no, we leave it. And then actually the players, it just shows about a good group we have. I think it was Ollie, Christian, Pontus, and then our head of performance, Chris Haslam, arranged a barbecue with the chef safe the day after at Ollie's house. So they came together, all of them.
Wow.
Which was
they took that upon themselves to do.
They did that on themselves, yeah.
So many amazing days, but also you spoke with a lot of honesty, lads. There is an extended version of that going out on YouTube next week, so keep an eye out for that. It's not to be missed. Great chat about the Fulham game and the season after that, and of course our promotion to the Premier League. Tomorrow, by my maths, I think will be his 151st game in charge. Here we get the lowdown on our opponents, Wolves.
This Saturday we make the 2-hour trip up the M40 to Molineux. Brentford's last 3-point steal came in a championship game in February 2016. New kid on the block Bruno Lage took charge of the Wanderers as head coach this summer. The former Benfica league title winning coach replaced his Portuguese counterpart Nuno. The ones to watch for our away trip include centre forward Jimenez, whilst at the back Conor Cody has won 9 aerial battles this season. Our head-to-head in 26 meetings has shown slim margins, with Wolves coming out on top with 12 wins to 11.
Right, another tough game tomorrow. As we saw there, new man on the helm, Bruno Lage, I think we're pronouncing it. He favours a 4-4-2. They tried it in pre-season, lads. It didn't work. They've gone back to 3 at the back and they play 3-4-3. This is how they lined up against Watford last week. What comes into your head when you see that? Because for me, that front three, Jimenez, Trincao and Traore, scares me a little bit, Karleigh.
It's a dangerous front three. It's talented. Trincao looks like he's going to be something special for sure. Just kind of gliding through the team the other week. Yeah. But I think we have to take a lot of positives from how well Brentford have defended, the shape they've kept. But they will be up against a different kind of animal this week with those three, and especially with Traore as well.
3-4-3. What are the strengths and weaknesses about that system? Because we saw Conte did it really well in the Premier League. We've done it before. Yeah,
I think it's just how you set up really in regards to kind of that formation. It gives you the possibilities to really go out and attack and try and overload teams, but it also can leave you vulnerable if not done right, and the opposing team of that formation can find the right spots and make the right passes, especially the first pass, because you can wipe out 5-6 players off your first pass, and end up in a situation where it's almost 4v3 or 5v3 sometimes, depending on how it works out. So I think it's just making sure that the decision making is right when we regain the ball. I think that's the most important thing when you're playing against
with this formation, with the three out there, then they've got the wing backs. I think it's Marçal on one side and Semedo on the other. They've had the 4th most crosses in the league. It's no surprise, and that's basically what they're going to try and do, I imagine, on Saturday. Get those balls into the box to Jimenez. One area though with this, obviously, it means because those wing backs, or whatever you call them, the wingers, I guess they're wingers, are bombing on to join as a 5. Then the 2 in midfield, Neves and Moutinho. Is that an option where we can maybe overrun them in midfield? Because we've obviously got the 3. We've got Christian Norgard, it's no surprise, has covered the 2nd most ground in the Premier League this year. So is that where that pressing and our lungs and our energy could actually work for us? Is winning that midfield battle against those two maybe?
Yeah, I think we've got to just conserve the energy in the right areas, keep that midfield tight where we've got the extra numbers. But I think most importantly is the movement of our front two as well. I think as they attack, we've got opportunities to drag Conor Cody out of position and try and make him vulnerable out wide. I think the movement that we've got will cause that problem We're very good on the ball in midfield anyway, so I don't have too many fears at all about going in. If they are going to bombard us with crosses, we've got 3 decent centre halves that can easily deal with that, but they've got to do that job.
We're talking about crossing here. They've also played the most long balls in the league. Last week, we actually had played the most long balls in the league. They've taken our crown now. But in the past, long ball was kind of thrown as an insult to clubs, wasn't it? Like, oh, they're a long ball team. But it's different now, isn't it? It's like a measured pass. It's not the old school hoof up the pitch,
is it? It was always a measured pass.
Yeah,
when Man United used to do it,
Wimbledon
when Man United used to do it, it wasn't a long ball. It was a measured pass by Man United.
We've got this graphic here, and it shows that David Raya has actually completed the most long passes this year. The interesting one is to see who's second here is Neves for Wolves. And he does love that long range pass. And it's what I'm getting at here is a long ball isn't now a centre half hoofing it. It's a bit more of a thought out pass, right?
It's just exploiting different areas. And everyone loves to see the small, tiny tiki-taka type football, which is lovely to see and it's great to see. But also, if you can get from A to B as quick as possible, that doesn't make it a bad pass.
No.
And that's what's sometimes forgotten, I think, and that's where Wolves are now obviously.
We're breaking the press. With that type of ball.
Should be an interesting matchup with one of the most threatening front lines in the league and probably one of the best defence in the league.
Yeah, it's going to be a great matchup. I think it's a game where we can probably express ourselves a bit more. We know Wolves. We've come across them over the last few years. And I think we'll be able to play our natural footballing game like we did last year to some degree, but we have to be cautious. They've got a strong front three. And we've got to just go out and try and express ourselves as best we can. And I think we've definitely got the players to do that. So let's get it on.
Well, remember, if you can't get to the game tomorrow at Molineux, all games are being covered on iFollow with Mark Burridge. That is it for this week. But before we go, next month, Head of Medical at the club, Neil Gregg, will be running the Manchester Marathon in memory of Rob Rowan and in support of Cry and the Brentford Community Sports Trust. If anyone's able to spare a few pennies to get behind Neil, the money goes towards helping provide cardiac screening and life-saving equipment for people in the area. For more information, we've put a couple of the links down below to donate and learn more. We'll be back next week after the Oldham game on Tuesday. Tickets still available for that one. Marcus, what we got planned ahead of the Liverpool game next week?
Remember, boys, we've only got 21 seconds.
MC Harvey, John Barnes on our show.
You don't understand how many times we practiced that and it was so bad. That is right. Next week we've got John Barnes and MC Harvey here with us. Plus we've got the boys' FIFA stats coming out, so we'll be revealing them with the boys. Make sure you tune in next Friday, 6 PM, Brentford's YouTube channel. Those of you going to Molineux, safe journey up. Have a great weekend. You Reds!